banker, a former central banker, and India's former chief statistician. All these three questioned the government's demonetisation drive. We spoke to KC Chakrabarty, Meera, Sanyal and Pronob to find out why they believe this move could harm the economy.
Well, I don't think it's a question of being either agile or out of control, but the real question, I believe, is whether or not the government is focusing on the right issues. At the moment, the focus seems to be on the demand side, on the consumers. But the really urgent, impending issue is on the production side.
Right.
And, you know, Mr. Chidambaram made the point about the Rabi sowing. Well, it's not just the Rabi sowing. The Kharif harvest is also still coming in large parts of the country. And if the currency notes are not available, then you are going to see serious distress among the farmers. Now, the difference between the demand side and the supply side is that the demand side can be managed with gradual infusion of cash.
Sure.
So you can have a relatively slow process, small amounts of cash being given to a large number of people. But when you're addressing the supply side, the demands are lumpy. They are large amounts which are required at the beginning of the production process. So going through these kinds of limits like 4,000, 4,500, 10,000, yes, 25,000, 50,000 for current accounts, these are all for the demand side. They are simply not all right for the supply side at all.
You're raising a valid point, Mr. Sen. I'll come back to you in just a second, but let me also bring in the former Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank of India. Mr. Rao, I'll come back to you, sir. I just want to get Mr. KC Chakrabarty in on this conversation. Mr. Chakrabarty, you've heard what the government has said, what our fellow panelists are saying at this point in time. You have questioned the demonetisation scheme. You have questioned the economic benefits of the scheme. Why is that, sir?
Nowhere in the world demonetization brings any economic benefit unless there is an urgency. It is a very blunt instrument. I would like to say that what are the economic benefits people are saying, that need to be assessed. Here, even if there is some benefit, the loss to the economy is much more. It is a very blunt instrument. I think it should be utilized very judiciously and after thinking all the aspects. And that is why I say that it is not going to give the desired result.
Meera, Sanyal, I want you to put on your former banker's hat and talk to us about what this means for the average citizen.
I think one of the big mistakes that has been made in this move is that the government has assumed that the entire cash economy is a black economy. There is a very, very large, official, legitimate part of the economy, which is a cash economy. And what you have done at one stroke is sucked the liquidity out of the system. It's a 101 of finance and of banking, that no one goes bankrupt because they don't have assets. Vijay Mallya, for example, had plenty of assets. Yeah. You go bankrupt when you run out of cash. And what they have done is they have sucked out 86% of the cash of the Indian economy. It's like if you take out 86% of the blood of a human being, you can't survive. And so what is currently happening is that millions of businesses, tiny businesses, big businesses, are being squeezed of liquidity and could very well go bankrupt. And this will have a cascading effect on the economy.
While the